Testing. Testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Talking into the mic now. Yes, my microphone is on right now. Can you hear me? I'm talking into it right now. Can you hear me? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Hello, hello.
Hello there.
Hey, what's going on? This is cool. We got some tech finally.
Who's this?
This is Will.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Where are you?
I am in my living room. I got a Zoom link to the meeting.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How are you hearing me? Do you have am I like on speaker, or how does this working?
Yeah, you're on speaker in the room.
Oh, cool, nice.
Did
Is
not
this
know
like
you
an
could do that.
yeah? Is this an every meeting thing now?
I did not know that, but this is awesome.
Yeah, nice. Okay,
Let me
let's
see if
see.
I can actually get into Zoom and see you.
Yeah, hold on.
Where would I
Got
find
the
the Zoom link?
I've got the camera on. I see you sort of sitting in the log cabin. This is
Yeah. Hey.
cool. I got an email from. Let me see. I got an email from the village clerk to Alex, Danielle, me, Kate, and from the title of the invite is Ecology Board Meeting.
Okay, I don't know if I'm on that.
I think let's see.
Let's see.
Ecology Board Meeting Zoom link. aleks.bernhard@gmail.
Yes. What date was it sent?
This was from. Let me see. Let me pull it up again. Ecology Board. Feb 23rd.
February 23rd. Okay, let me check.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else might be logging in remotely. Looks like it's just us, log cabin host, and me.
Could you forward me that email? Because I don't
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
definitely. Hold on one second. Let me drop video. And then ecology board meeting, forward. Perfect. Include attachments. Nice. Okay, okay, I'll get you banana. And what's the best email for you?
Hey, one second, one second.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we have to have in-person quorum. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I probably got it. I don't know if it went to spam. I couldn't find it. Will was telling me that. Could you? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Shante is actually sending it to me right now. I probably just missed it, or I didn't know that it was in the email.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, it came through a while ago. I just remembered seeing it, so I like searched my inbox for it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
went through the cracks for me too.
Yeah.
But
Apparently, I guess the rules are that we have to have quorum in the
in person.
in the log in person in order
Yeah.
for somebody to be able to, because of these weird rules
Gotcha.
that
Oh,
they have. But
I can run over. I live down the street. I try to get Garrett dressed. We'll be there in like maybe
no,
5.
I don't think you might not need to, because I think no,
Oh,
we're good.
nice.
We're good actually. Yeah, we have 3 here, so we're good.
Oh, sweet, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex and Kate are here, so we're good. Hey, how's it going? We have Will joining us virtually on
Hey,
via Zoom.
hey guys.
The good doctor. Daniela as well. All right, so everybody doing good. Daniela, I don't know if you heard, Will is actually joining us. He's on Zoom right now, so he can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Oh, perfect. Sí, mi amor, un segundo.
If you can disconnect and reconnect, it'll tell you that it needs to go to a website or something, and then it'll ask you to actually. When you're ready, so we can call to order. Sure. I was trying to find it. Let's see. No, but let's put we just pull it up. Yeah. That's what I was looking for, actually. It should be on the website, yeah. Probably, yeah, probably Shantae. Ready?
Thank you, sorry.
No problem. So calling to order, Ecology Board, Biscayne Park, March 15th, 2022. Let's get a roll call. Kate Davis,
Present.
William Aitken,
Present virtually.
Daniela Carbonera,
Present.
Alexander Medeja,
Present.
and myself, Alexander Bernhard. So I don't have the agenda open here, but Kate, maybe you can let me know what the first item is there.
The first item on the agenda is the Earth Day event.
Is your mic on? Make sure to talk. They were saying last time they could.
Earth Day event is the first item on.
Yes, okay. So we can have Barbara actually speak about that, since that's her baby and she's here with us today. Okay. Okay. Let's make sure let me see if the mic's on there.
So I'm sorry about that. I know you spoke about the Earth Hour last meeting, and I wrote about that in our meeting minutes. I
Yep.
thought that this one was for Earth Day, so my mistake. So I'll correct that.
If you've seen how many different versions of the flyers that we've done and how many mistakes we made on them. It's the wrong date for the Luminaria workshop and everything. But I have a few things that I want to ask you, and I need some practical information. And first, let me see, let me just do this. Before I came last month, I looked at all of your applications from a year ago so that I got just wanted to get to know you, but I didn't write down your contact information and your emails. And so Alex, I don't know if Shantae forwarded to you. And
Yeah.
asked, do you have the group email list or anything? I know with Sunshine Laws, it's difficult, but.
I would ask her for that. I don't have the list here with all the information, but Shantae, I'm sure she can do that pretty quickly.
I'll
Yeah.
just ask you here. I'm just going to put it up.
Yeah, or we can write it. Yeah,
Emails on.
sure. And if you could just introduce yourself too, please. Thanks.
Here you go. Just put your name.
Sure.
Got a couple copies of an older version of the flyers. But first, my name is Barbara Watts. I've been living in Biscayne Park since I think 1987 or 88. No, about 88. And first as a renter, and then after I got tenure and got a raise, I bought a house. And I served for 5 years on the village commission. I think beginning in like 6 years ago. And as I said, I'm glad not to be on the commission. I'd like to do some things that are more rewarding. But anyway, so we've put together, we wanted to revive the practice of participating in the World Wildlife Fund's Earth Hour, which you all know about since I talked with you about it last month. So now what I want to do is just ask you for some help and give you a little bit of info. Tomorrow afternoon, we are our Luminaria decorating workshop at the rec center. In subsequent years, we might have it like on the day of the event here in the log cabin, or on another day rather than in the middle of the week. I was thinking of having it all on the same day, and one of the young mothers new on the board said, yes, I'd love to do that and have a picnic and all, but I think I don't think people with children want to stay in one place for 6 hours and have their children wait till it's 8:30. So anyway, and I don't want to put too many things on one day, but what we're doing is having this workshop so as to coincide with the Golden Gates after school programs, so that we're guaranteed at least a number of kids, and then more kids that from the park itself who come in. And I'm following the example of Jill of the foundation, who did this with the Valentine's Day event and in consultation with ISA. So what we've come up with is what we'll have is, like, forgive my stupidness, but I'm not an artist, but what we've got is about 50 bags that will add, and punches of various kinds of plants and animals, and that the kids will decorate. Now we've got magic markers of glitter glue, glitter pens, and so then we've filled some with birdseed, and then we'll put them outside. And then the kids can take these home later after I retrieve all my Christmas lights. And we've got enough for about 50 lights out here, and we've tried it out, and it truly is magical with the lights on. So that's the project for the kids tomorrow afternoon. So if you know of anyone, and I'll try to send out another announcement. It's listed in Nextdoor and posted on the website. All right.
Barbara, when is that?
Tomorrow afternoon between 3 and 5. And we're doing that at this day and hour because the kids get from Golden Gates arrive earlier on Wednesdays. And then I didn't want it to be on St. Patrick's Day. And so there are other complications. And I thought that, and there are other things that the rec center wants to do that next Saturday. I think the foundation is having an event at Food and Tunes. So I don't want to be in conflict. All right. So I've asked, there are some complications with guarding money. And I'm hoping that you will be willing to open up your pocketbooks for a little bit. I've raised about $500. Nancy Davis and I, who are organizing this, just put in $100 each, and we're also covering food, which will be, I think, herbal tea, cookies, and apples. All right, keeping it simple here, and then and we've covered the cost of the materials for the Food and Tunes. All right. So then with one resident, wonderful Linda Dillon, just gave me $25 when I presented this at the commission meeting last month. But then members of the Biscayne Park Commission, our commissioners, in aggregate gave me, two people gave me $100 each. Another person gave me 25, another 50. And then another person on the board I'm on, Public Arts, pitched in 50. So that gives us $500 with which to be able to get the wonderful group, Matthew Sabatella. And you might write that name down, Sabatella. And I'll send it out to you. But if you just Google it's always Matthew Sabatella. I've typed it wrong 3 times on these flyers. Matthew Sabatella and his Wandering String Band, Rambling String Band are a group that does that plays like the American Songbook of folk music. And Matthew has published like 3 CDs, and they've got banjos and all kinds of the old instruments. And say they will lead us off with "This Land Is Your Land," and then go on to doing others. Now the price has gone up exponentially since I did this years ago. So his band, and he's come down actually $100 since I first started talking with him. And I really wanted to have just more than one person because I want the vocals and the instrumentation to be rich. rich. So he's gotten, so I guaranteed him one person, but then I said, let me see how much money I could raise and if we can get to a second person. And he said, well, I don't know if I can get anybody at this point in time because, you know, our musicians have gigs. Well, anyway, he's guaranteed to have 3 people and we've got the $500. So that's yay. I'm really happy with that. Because our other option, the newest member of the board is a jazz singer, but she's going to be on vacation at spring break and she's not going to be here. And I don't think that, I think that jazz isn't quite what we want for an event in front of the log cabin for this particular thing. So I think that old time music is really appropriate. I'm excited about that. And also we plan to have I'm going to ask at the event and everywhere and elsewhere in postings that we do compare. We ask people with their cell phones to take photographs before and after, light and dark, because there's one wonderful article in The Guardian, you know, the British publication online, that has the pictures of the Eiffel Tower, of the Sydney, Australia Opera House, and of the Waterloo, the bridge, not Waterloo, but London Bridge, and all these places that where the lights are on and the lights are off with parallel things. And I thought that might be nice to do with Biscayne Park. And eventually people can post them. And eventually if they ever start the newsletter again, it can, you know, we can post those there, and it can be some of the good ones can be posted on the website. And then we'll see how things change over the course of years if we just have that as a document. Okay, so one, I do hope that you could open up your pockets and give me some money so that we can afford the posters, because the posters, we can get the flyers done, and I've had 200 of the first draft of the flyer done, which I'll give you by the Village Hall, and I'm going to put something else on the back of it. But we updated the flyers because Mac and wonderful new member of the board, Lori Mertz, who lives down the block, wrote in a comment on the first one. I had Earth Hour join the worldwide movement, join us at the log cabin, lights out at 8:30, essentially. And Lori mentioned, well, who join us? Who's us? And I was thinking it's implied Biscayne Park, because this is just going to go to Biscayne Park. But I thought, no, to do a sign correctly, we should do that. And who's sponsoring it? So the revised version, which I can show you, actually says that and I'm worried about in the future if you ever change your name. I hope that Ecology is in it, because I put the public the art and ecology boards are participating in the World Wildlife's Earth Hour by turning off the lights at the log cabin. Please join us. And then a little bit more information. The poster that we want will have less copy so that it's more legible. So Nancy designed it slightly differently, and we cut out some of the things. Okay, so if we have money for the posters, we'll order them tomorrow. All right. And with the flyers, we're going to need, I'm going to put out a call for people to distribute them to the households. Max said that he did it in a weekend with people, and I would like to do this, you know, very soon. But if you have people that you write to or if you could take responsibility for your block, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, and you can contact me at any time. My email address, which Alex has, but it's Watts, W-A-T-T-S, B as in Barbara, 720@gmail.com. Again, that's Watts, W-A-T-T-S-B, 720@gmail.com. Okay, and also if you want to donate, you can give money to the foundation, and you can do that. If you don't want to write a check, you can do it through that new kind of thing that I can't remember. It begins with a Z or something.
Zoe.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 2 people have done that already with no problem, and the Biscayne Park Foundation will just pop up. And I think you can add a line that this is for Earth Hour. Okay, or otherwise you can just give it to Shantae or the new Mylan, I call her, but her name is Lisa, at the Village Hall. Okay, and so depending on how much money, I know that if I hear that the money, if you send me an email and say, I'm going to give this money to the foundation, then I'll just be able to calculate how many signs we can get. Okay, and then I need to know who of you or which ones of you want to speak at this event, because I really do want to you to tell the public what you're doing. and what the Ecology Board is all about. I think that's really important. And if one or two of you want to speak, that's you're invited, to do so. That's the primary thing. I asked the mayor, or the mayor will be out of town, and the village manager has a birthday. His son is his 12th anniversary party or birthday party, so they won't be there. I'm hoping that Judy Hamelberg or someone on the commission will speak, but I really think that this is an ecology event. And I did ask Amy Raymond of the, the board, art board chair, but she has not responded to me yet about that. So, but regardless, I think that's okay. And also on the last thing, I mentioned this last month, I wanted to include on I'm going to Xerox the lyrics to This Land Is Your Land, especially the original lyrics, because the second and third verses were sanitized, shall we say, because they were very political. And I think that, and not everybody knows the second and third, verses to it. So what I plan to do is print that out and have some available for people, and have it available to people's phones electronically to post that. But if we have to use paper to provide those lyrics, then what I want is on the back, something from you. About some tips of ways to conserve energy, some cleaning tips as to what the perfect natural cleaning formula is, or something, or whatever you want, just on the back. If you just want to give me a list of websites that people can look at for conservation or anything, it's all up to you, but I think that it would be nice, and we can then get Shantae to eventually to post everything on the Biscayne Park website. So I think that's about it. I just need to know who's going to speak, just for a few minutes about the whole thing, the meaning of the movement, or why conservation and nature are important. Whatever. Okay, I think that's about it. Do you have any questions? And I hope you can all come, or you're planning to come. Bring your children.
Thanks, Barbara. I have to check my calendar because it is spring break and we have some plans that are.
I know.
So
Sure that it happens.
I'll let you know about.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, I'm planning on being there, and be happy to say some words as well. And how much money do you need?
I need about $300.
Okay.
That might be a little extra, but about it, the quotes that I have, now I did 4 quotes, and the prices changed with now that the computer or the world knows that I'm looking. I keep getting these things that are saying 50% off, free shipping, and such like that. But the quotes that I've received I've gotten are super cheap signs, 178 plus tax, and we might have to do a rush thing and mailing and shipping. Another one is about 160, but plus shipping and tax. And then another one is $196. So really it's about a little over $200 is what we need. And I did try to check. I thought, since I have leftover campaign signs from those many years ago, we checked to see how much it would cost for us to just make 18 by 24 signs and print those things out, print the flyer out and glue them to the boards that I already have. And I already have the stakes for them. But that is $17.95 per print. And if we wanted things on both sides, the cost of just trying to do something on the cheap is actually going to cost much more money. So, and what I did with and Alex, if you have everyone's email addresses, if you could send the poster sign to everyone, you can see what it looks like. And we wanted it on both sides. And then we thought that the copy on this, we took out 2022 when we placed it with stars. And then the only thing that would have to be changed if we do this next year would be the March 20 something. It'll be 26th or 27th or 25th. So it would only be replacing like one letter that we'd have to glue on, and we could use these signs, next year, the year after, and the year after. So that's how we wrote it. So we didn't include the name of the musician or anything on the one that would be as the so-called yard sign.
Is there a way to maybe avoid printing on so much paper to actually have the village do an email blast to all the people that are on email?
Yeah, no, they are doing an email blast too.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, and it will be on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, but Nextdoor. Okay, and then also if you see it on Nextdoor, I'm going to actually put different things on Nextdoor because the more people who mention it and say, oh, that sounds like a good idea, I'm going, then that keeps the post up on the top of the list so people see it.
Yeah.
And that's why actually Mac sometimes responds to himself just to keep it up there. And for Mango Fest, that's what we always do. We keep saying, oh, how nice, and everywhere else. And I'm bringing my second cousin and 16 kids or something.
Okay, great. Well, so I just asked Shante that she would send the sign to everybody else here so everybody can have it. And like I said, I'll be happy to say a few words. And yeah, this is great that you're doing it. Thanks for making it happen.
I took a medical leave this year. Next year, I won't have that much time. Because I do want to retire at some point, but the political things in my department at FIU are such that I need to be here for another year so that I can make sure that art history survives. So
We need that. All right, thank you.
so much for being so eagle-eyed and telling me that I got the wrong day and date mixed up.
Oh yeah.
Actually, when I've said, yes, I'm a doofus, I am. I've been teaching for like 30 years, and as often as I go through my syllabus, every single semester, which the courses change and everything, and change the dates and everything, I always get a date or two wrong, much to the distress of my students.
Well, we got it fixed, so
Yep.
no big deal.
Just a question. Sorry, one question. This event is only for people living in Biscayne Park, or can be also extended with some family and kids of?
No, it's for anyone and everyone. What we thought was we would advertise it to the city of North Miami and to Miami Shores and all of the area. But the thing is, this semester, or this time, it's just, I'm only one person and Nancy's only one person. We just can't do it all. And that's the way it goes. But I was thinking next year, if we elicit your help and that we can sort of be more organized. And since we'll already have sort of the basis of a flyer ready that we can just make changes, then it won't take so much time. And we can do that because that was my ideal originally. So if you want to if you've got friends or I have an email list of all your friends and other things, just if Alex or I'll get Shante to send you the PDFs of the flyers. If you want to blast it out or send it to whomever you know, that would be wonderful.
Great. Thank you. Okay. What's the next item on the agenda there?
This is the update on House Bill 1159, Florida Statute 163.045. That's regarding the tree preservation. That's regarding homeowners being able to remove specimen trees without obtaining a local or county permit. So I put this on the agenda because I know it's been a huge issue for Biscayne Park and our residents. And so I brought it up because there's the bill is being revised. And I know that we kind of been talking about it and working on it. I had some ideas and have been putting them out, but the bill is currently being, thanks Barbara, is going to be revised. It's more in favor. And so I wanted to bring it up to try to talk about it and to see if there's, anything else that we think that we want to do or what we can push for. Basically, the bill is being revised to be stricter in their standards, requiring a more stringent tree risk assessment that's prepared by a certified arborist. Before it was very vague language in the bill, and now so they've refined it to be a little bit more stringent, requiring a specific kind of survey that needs to be done by the arborist, and then if it's being done by a landscape architect, that it has to be reviewed and certified by an arborist. So I mean, I'm not going to go into detail unless you guys are really interested in it about what the, it's what the assessment requires. But supposedly that's going to be taking effect, which makes it a little bit more stringent. My issues with it is that it's still, homeowners are still allowed to remove specimen trees with this, survey from an arborist, which is, it's better because before, it could be done before or after the fact of removing the tree. So it's a little bit, it requires property owners to take a little more effort before they're removing the trees, and it's a lot more risk for an arborist. So they're kind of putting their certification on the line, and they have to follow these standards, which makes it really hard for somebody to remove. It has to actually be an actual, like, there's no alternative way to trim this tree to make it, if it's unhealthy, if there's any other way to save the tree, the arborist has to say why and exactly why there's no other way and it has to be removed versus just removing it and saying, yeah, it looked pretty bad. So there's more risk to it for an arborist. The only other, the one issue is that the property owner and arborist still do not have to give the local municipality or whoever is the regulatory agency notification prior to removing the tree. So they can do the assessment and the property owner can have it on hand, remove the tree, and then, code enforcement would come by and be like, oh, you removed this tree or whoever. And then, then they can show the letter. So to me, I still think that it would be better if, I'm not saying that they have to, I think it's best that they have to get a permit first or whatnot, but I still think it should be, in my personal opinion, and for the protection of the trees in Biscayne Park and Miami-Dade County, that property owners should be required to give notification similar to what other regulatory processes are done here in the county, like at least like a 10-day notice saying, have a specific email or some way to notify the municipality or the county, 10-day notice, give the letter and the report from the arborist saying that we're going to tree. And that way it gives time for arbitration if the county arborist feels as though that tree is not actually in that quality that arborist says it is.
One question about the trees there in the common space and like between the trees and things. It's possible to create a document also giving the commission and things the power to invest money to avoid cut the tree and find other solution, because I believe many tree has been eliminated because damage of the tree is maybe repaving the street or doing something. So because you are just looking for somebody giving a stop, but maybe it's not the way.
Yeah, well, this rule is only for single family residences. It doesn't pertain to right of ways. It doesn't pertain to municipality. I mean, a municipality could remove a tree if they wanted to, if they had the arborist letter, but this is specifically for single family homes. So in property owners of, the people who are living that have trees in their right of way are not allowed to remove them, even though it happens all the time, but they're supposed to obtain a permit prior to removing any tree that's within a public right of way or city right of way or roadway right of way. So they're supposed to obtain permits prior to that. This bill does not fall within in right of ways. People aren't supposed to be
It's only
removing.
for the front of the house.
No, it's only within their property limits, but it doesn't include right of ways. So the right of way is like, I think, ranges in the village, but somewhere around 15 feet from the street. And I believe that the trees that are being removed in the right of ways right now are invasive exotic species, mostly Australian pines. So everybody likes them, but it's kind of like a love-hate thing because those trees are invasive and they don't require permits to be removed because of their species.
Since the other bill already passed, is this going to be a new bill that's being introduced?
No, it's just a revision. It's like a
Okay.
revision to the existing bill. So I brought these and what I can do is I didn't have time to have Shante send them out to you, but after the meeting, I can have her send these out. So it's just like strike throughs and
Okay.
the existing language in that.
Is it the sponsor that proposed those, or is it somebody else?
I was just looking at it, it was a whole bunch of group of people that mostly local municipalities, such small communities such as ourselves.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering because I wonder how likely it is that that would actually be adopted. That's only-
No, it's about to be approved, I think in a couple of days, if not.
really?
it's already approved
Okay.
last couple of days. So it went through, like, I don't really know the, like, the legal, like, I don't know the verbiage of the process, but the people I were talking to were like, yeah, it's already going through. So it should be.
Which bill is it?
This bill is
What's the number?
um,
HB?
518. I think that I referenced that correctly on the agenda, actually.
Okay. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, so I'm looking it up right now. So it went to House and it was read 3 times and it passed. And so now it's ordered, it's going to Senate order as it's ordered enrolled, whatever that means.
Okay.
That's the next action, which happened on the 8th. So
Okay. Recent. All right.
So my recommendation is, I don't know if we want to take a vote and then I can, maybe put some language together and then speak at the next commission meeting, but I kind of mocked this letter that was prepared by the county attorney. By the city of Coral Gables, that they presented it to their county attorney to present, I think I don't know who they presented it to exactly. I think they were going to be sending it out for to issue an implementing order, and what it says, I'll just kind of read it, that the city should urge residents to it's like they're putting out public notice to people that, like, urging and the residents to voluntarily submit the required documentation prior to pruning, trimming, and removal of trees, so as to avoid being improperly cited by the city for those actions. So the city of Coral Gables has their own tree regulatory program, which, unlike us, it's the county that regulates the village of Biscayne Park, but all of our residents are acting almost as their own enforcement agencies here. And I think that's something that we could talk about with commission. For those, sorry, so let me finish reading it. So it's like certifying that an arborist provide documentation under this statute, that they should be mindful of these requirements, obligation, and standards of their state licenses and ISA certification. And it's recommended that the city manager issue an implementing order setting forth the process for evaluating tree trimming, pruning, and removal under Florida Statute 163.045 and delineating specific documentation requirements within the city. So I think that that the village of Biscayne Park should join this bandwagon. I don't know if the village of Biscayne Park is part of the what is it, the League of Cities, which has like our own lobbyists that go forth on these things. I don't know. I mean, I was just looking it up when we were talking. I don't see us listed, so I guess it's just like something that the Biscayne Park is not involved in, but I assume that we do have some type of lobbyist availability for us. I don't know.
We do have a lobbyist. Yeah.
No, we do.
We do.
Yeah, that's what I thought we read
Yeah.
recently. I read somewhere recently. So, I mean, if people are serious about it, I mean, I think that we could, talk. I know there's some board members that are concerned about these issues. So, I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I think the commission is, I mean, from what I understand, I think the commission is pretty concerned about it. I mean, they dedicated a large amount of one of their meetings talking about it, and they had a study done with one of the contractors. I forget the name of the contractor. They kind of went through just different options and what the existing Miami-Dade code is and some different ideas for what we could do, which we talked about last time, how realistic some of that is. But definitely if there's some kind of like legal precedent that's already being used in other municipalities, it seems to make sense that we should piggyback onto that.
Okay, so if
Would
you
be for
guys
that.
are in favor of it, the next commission meeting, think I'm gonna be here. I could present that option to them and kind of see how they feel about it. And then if they're on board with it, then, and they want to support it, I could provide some language to them. See how they. see
Yeah,
what-
it could be like a good bridge between what's there now and whatever they're planning on doing with the land development code, which is part of that. It's going to be I guess the tree ordinance, which, like I said, they talk and I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
did go to that and it was kind of, I mean, in my opinion, no offense to anybody, but it was a waste of money. It was like something that, and this is kind of something I wanted to bring up to them as well, maybe, that they have this board here and we're for free. And the information that they received from, God, what is it? Galvin Giordano? Is
Calvin
that-
Giordano, yeah.
It was not representative of the services or the ability of what the village has to be able to regulate trees. And so it was kind of a waste of a lot of money. And I don't know when this came about or when they issued that task work order to them, but if they had come or sent me an email or one of us, I could have easily told them, no, this is the issues of why the Village of Biscayne Park can't regulate trees on our own and the costs associated with it and the differences between having the county do it and us. So I don't think that they know that we are here to assist them or that I have that knowledge and ability. So I wanted to bring it to their attention. Like, I'm happy to do that for them for free and that I'm here to help them in any way with the regulatory processes or regulations on trees. So because what they provided is not something that's feasible for us because we don't have arborists on staff, nor do we have money to hire an arborist to bring in-house to review application permits, nor an arborist to go out into the field and actually do site inspections. So right now, we have Miami-Dade County that's actually processing permits on our behalf for trees that are regulated here in Biscayne Park. Issue with Biscayne Park is that it's all single-family residential, and for any non-specimen trees, they're not required to get permits for their removal. They are required to get permits for removal of specimen trees that are healthy. But now with that bill, what we were just talking about, is people have been going out, getting arborist letters and just being able to remove specimen trees. So the issue with Biscayne Park, and this is kind of my next topic, is that so there's no requirements for people to get permits for removing trees. People are doing away with having to get permits for removing specimen trees, which means that there's no mitigation associated with the loss of canopy. So we're losing the canopy and there's no requirements for replacement. So the one way that I see it in the situation that Biscayne Park is in to be able to obtain canopy replacement is through landscape codes. So I look through our code, and I've been kind of talking about this slightly in the past couple of meetings. I was going to get to it, but I actually did look at our landscape code, and our landscape code is non-existent. Nor does it say that, nor does it reference kind of like what it does for tree permitting. It referenced that you have to follow Miami-Dade County code in their regulations when, ours doesn't exist or whatever their requirements are. Our code doesn't require landscape, it doesn't have landscape requirements. It says very bare minimum, like, planting native species and support of, the environment, very vague stuff. No, like so many trees per lot, no requirements whatsoever. Nor does it, like I said, nor does it reference the Miami-Dade County code. So Miami-Dade County has this landscape code. It's chapter 18A, and it's very, so there are some municipalities that have their own landscape codes that are much more strict and a lot more requirements than Miami-Dade County. But I mean, if we wanted to adopt anything, it may be, we could take something like the Miami-Dade County and tweak it out so that it'd be more representative of what the village wants to see here. But if we, I don't know if we have the time or the energy or the financials to do that. If not, what we could do at a minimum is reference that Biscayne Park has to follow Miami-Dade County Landscape Code under the chapter 18A. And that way residents, especially new developments, redevelopments, would have to be following this landscape code, which sets how many trees per lot. Have to be so many different species. They have to be, some of them has to be, a percentage has to be native. Talks about coverage of coverage of trees, talks about how much, all kind of the stuff that we've already been touching on with the whole swales and driveway stuff. It talks about a little bit about that. One of the issues that, we're going to get to is the right of ways and swales and plantings and setbacks. This doesn't have setbacks. So, I mean, that could kind of be a separate thing, but the one thing that would be good is that and this is kind of something that we had talked about at that other previous meeting is that the Village of Biscayne Park during plan review right now does not require landscape plans prepared by a landscape architect. It's not reviewed. There's no compliance for it. So this is the issue, is that in the Miami-Dade County Landscape Code, it actually says all municipalities have to be following this landscape code unless they have their own that are more stringent. So we're like not even in compliance with our own, county code. So it seems to be that, relevant for us to be following this, and for the building, I'm not quite sure how building reviews are done here in Miami-Dade County. In the Village of Biscayne Park. But as part of their building review, they should be reviewing landscape plans for compliance with this code. And it's kind of easy. Like, I mean, I look at these plans all the time, but like they have landscape plans and they have like a table on it that shows like what kind of land use it is. And it says how many trees you have to plant and, what percentage. And then like the landscape plans actually have to show that and where the trees are going to go. And then, people aren't issued their certificate of occupancy for these buildings unless their landscaping is actually done. And then that's one way of us getting more canopy and canopy replacement here in the county. This is the table. I'll send this out to you guys, but that's kind of my thought on it, because we don't have the ability as a village, because we're too small. We don't have the financial support to have our own regulatory program for trees.
One question, when this is enforced, is Miami-Dade sending some inspector to give ticket if you are not respecting the code? Or because I don't think in North Miami or other place, I saw so many trees like I see in this camp. This is existing, is not enforced in Biscayne Park.
No, this is for new development, for building permits, or for redevelopment. It's usually typically if you're doing a certain percentage, like if you're just putting in like, I don't know, if you're replacing your fence, you're not going to be required to do landscape plans. But if you're doing like, a renovation or like a huge renovation, or like putting in a pool, or you're rebuilding your house, or doing an addition, things like that, you would be required to comply with this.
Is enforced.
It would be enforced, yes. You would have to do landscape plans that actually show where your existing trees are, what trees have to be removed as part of your development or redevelopment or new work, and then where are you replacing those trees, and you're meeting this table,
So the
tree replacement.
when you do a big things, you need to have the permit and you have to do these things.
Yeah, you need to have landscape plans as part of your building plans, make your civil drawings. And it should be part of the review process by whoever's reviewing our plans. I think we have an in-house engineer. I'm not quite sure. It would be part of, the permitting process, and, that would be stamped off on, and something that they would review to make sure that the plans are meeting this, and that the plans show the tree replacement and what trees are being removed. And then, when they do their inspection, somebody's inspecting to make sure that the trees that they say they're replacing are there and planted. And
So this code will never touch people with existing property. Like in my property, I can plant other 23 without asking permit. I can cut 23 without asking permit. Or that one.
Yeah, well, you live in a single family home, so this is not regulating what trees you plant or what trees you remove unless they're specimen trees.
This is more new. This is more new development or redevelopment. So basically, I think redevelopment is basically defined over 50%. I don't know if it's
Yeah, I don't know what it is,
footage or
but I
the
think
value of
it's-
the house.
yeah,
So I know I would actually, have you talked to Mario about it? Because I know that there's something in process, because I remember when I was on P and Z over a year ago, we were talking about this. We talked about exactly this at length. And that's what the recommendation of P and Z was, to follow the exact development code that already exists for Miami-Dade, and basically just add it into the code, specifically saying, referencing that code. And I don't know if you have to actually basically copy and paste the code into your own for it to be truly
yeah,
enforceable.
I think you can just reference it. I think, I don't, not
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, some people in the P and Z were under the impression that it already was referenced. I don't know that that's the case or not. I don't remember seeing that it is or not. I mean, I don't know if obviously you didn't see it, so, but it seems like the best way to do it. And the way that the planning and the building process works, it just goes to different people. So the electrical goes to an electrical guy, and then the landscape would go to a landscaping person, and then when the final inspection is done, they would inspect for landscaping. It's a significant cost. It's going to be a significant cost add for the village. So they probably have to do like whatever evaluation they need to do for that. And the people that are doing the building right now, they're already trying to like raise prices for no reason. So hopefully they can figure out a way to do that without adding significant cost. But at the end of the day, if you're doing that kind of a renovation, or if you're building your house and you need to add an extra $500 to do a landscape inspection, then, so be it. In order to keep the character of the village, I'm totally for it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I guess I could reach out. I don't even know how to find out information about who's on what board and how to, like, unless I go to the actual boards, which is very difficult right now. But I guess I could reach out to Mario. I have a hard time getting him to respond to anything I ever ask. So I don't know.
Show up. That's what I did.
I guess.
He's very accessible. The one thing I will say is that he's willing to listen if you can get him. He's very busy, but it took me a little while to get a meeting with him, but he did listen. And like I said, I don't know if it's him or somebody. I mean, it would have to be him, that they're working on something, or maybe it's in the commission. That we had this conversation in P and Z over a year ago. And so there's definitely, and maybe it's on the commission. You want to reach out to the commissioners to see if one of them is kind of taking the lead on
Yeah,
that. 'Cause
I'll
I
do
know it's
that.
in process. It's definitely in process.
Okay.
But if you wanted to take a vote on the actual attorney's letter that you referenced there, it hold a little more weight when you bring it to the commission. So we can do that. If everybody is willing to take a vote on that, I think I'm willing to take a vote, and then we can see where everybody stands on that. Will, are you still there?
Yep.
Okay. So do you want to bring that up for a vote, Kate?
Sorry, I was just trying to take notes and catch up.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Okay, sorry. What about the recommendation for the implementing order? Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess those who are in favor of drafting an email to present to the city manager and for an implementing order, that kind of mocks the city of Coral Gables in reference to the Florida statute 163.045 in regards to notification prior to removing trees.
I'll call out the roster here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so Kate Davis,
Yes.
Will Aitken.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
By the way, Will, did you have any comments that you wanted to add? And you've been kind of silent there. We don't want to
Yeah.
make sure you forget you're there.
No. I think it's a good idea, and yeah, thanks, Kate, for kind of looking into what other people were doing with this. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good idea.
So is that a yes?
Yep.
Okay. Daniele,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes, I agree.
and I'm for it as well.
Okay. So the next agenda item is swales and right of way.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody's been keeping in touch with what's happening. So there's an ordinance being worked through the commission right now regarding development on swales, and the focus of it is on minimizing development and minimizing the impermeable surfaces. So part of it is this aesthetic, and part of it actually has to do with flood mitigation and resilience. So the part of it that obviously we each have our opinions on the aesthetic aspect of it, but that doesn't really relate to the ecology board. But for us, there are a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that we give kind of specific input on. And obviously, generally speaking, we talked about this last time, we were all against putting any kind of impermeable surfaces in the swale. So that's something that I believe we even voted on. But I think we need to get a little more specific as to what permeable surfaces would be allowed. And so there's two elements that I wanted to talk about, and feel free to add anybody, whatever you want to add as well to the conversation. So one of them had to do with what are going to be approved surfaces for the swale, permeable surfaces. And the other one is ground cover. One of the things that I noticed somewhere in some places in our code is specifically talks about grass. And I don't think that we should be telling people that they should put grass. I mean, grass is not the best thing to have, just from the standpoint of the amount of watering that it needs and fertilizers. I mean, I have grass on mine just because it's there and I don't do anything to it, and it grows fine. And that's probably the case for most people, but I don't think that we should be specifically referencing grass in the code. We can just say ground cover, but be curious to hear everybody's thoughts on that. But so first with the permeable surfaces, right now the approved permeable surfaces on the driveways are gravel. We talked about that last time. So basically gravel and turf block, which are kind of like these bricks that have holes in them that allow water to flow through. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. And another one, which is not specifically called that, but could be possible, is permeable pavers, which is basically just like a concrete paver, but it has the ability for water to be able to flow through it. I'm not a huge fan of those because those work in the beginning of their life, but later on they get clogged up and you can't really clean them. So it's permeable only for the first few years that it's there, and then it's not permeable anymore. So I don't think any kind of paver should be allowed, whether it's permeable or not. But I wanted to get everybody's opinion on what kind of permeable surfaces would be allowed. Now, again, there's going to be a limitation. It's only 40% of the swale that can be developed for a parking surface. And we need to decide what our recommendation is going to be to the commission as to what permeable surfaces are allowed. So for me, I would be for turf block. I'm okay with that because it's pretty much totally permeable. And I would be with whatever ground cover you want to put there, whether it's grass or something else, but I wouldn't specifically call for grass. And I personally would be okay with mulch. I know a lot of people are not necessarily for that, but it's an organic material, so I would be okay with that versus, and definitely 100% against any kind of asphalt or anything that's impermeable. So those are my thoughts on that. I don't know, Daniela, what are your?
I mean, probably is easy to highlight the exclusion. So really make crystal clear, asphalt is out of the scene.
Right.
And then the rest is aesthetical, budget and things. We should make clear what is really out.
Right. So no asphalt for sure. Kate, what are your thoughts?
So, and this is for, I'm trying to refresh my memory about what I listened to the last commission meeting, but they were talking about do you remember what percentage that they were talking about for the swales? And
It was 40%.
40%,
40%, yeah.
and that they were going to allow like parking in this area. That's kind of like where they were trying to say like, how can they enforce it or whatnot?
Yeah, they didn't really decide on that. That was kind of left up in the air. And it was also unclear as to the 40%, whether that covered just the swale and excluded whatever the driveway approach is already including or not. So that's the one thing that I was sort of unclear on.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had provided recommendations before. I'll go back and look at my meeting notes. But I think I kind of went into detail before about that, but
Well, the ones we did before were for driveways. So if they're the same ones for, they're probably the same ones for swales for the developed part, I would imagine.
yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of the same impermeable like material that we were talking about
Yeah.
stones and
Yeah.
you know, non being vague. And I think I remember I'm pulling information from Miami Shores. I think I pulled some information on what they were calling, you know, because we had the conversation about what rock would be considered.
Right.
So I think material like that, anything, you know, permeous, impermeable, not allowed, permeable, yes. Like anything that allows drainage.
Alex, what about you?
No, I would just add, I mean, I guess anything that's natural or organic. Sure, there are some man-made materials. Satisfied. Without having to use all of which before. And I take your point on, you know, grass versus something. Also hold up. Sitting.
Right. So I think one of the things was is like, I mean, anybody who wants to put grass in their front yard should be able to put grass in their front yard. You know, but the issue is, I think, 'cause they were like, oh, well, are we going to allow people to park on grass? Right. Currently, right now, we don't let people park on grass. So,
Oh, that's my name.
you know what I mean? Like the whole driveway issue. And so I think there's a conflict there. I mean, I'm not getting involved in that and I don't want to be involved in that. But if somebody wants to, we have to be careful because if somebody has a like a, you know, parking area and wants to put grass there, they should be allowed to, you know, take away and eliminate that and put grass there, you know. So I agree, you know what I mean? I don't, it's, we keep on going over and over again, but you know, I think it's just like if they want to park there, should we allow them to put grass and things like that? You know, I don't know. I prefer grass. I think it should be grass. I think that it should be grass because the swale area is not a permanent parking spot. It's like a temporary thing for, you know, guests or, you know, not like a every day I'm going to park in this spot. Like that's the intent of these swale parking areas.
That's the intent of the driveway. Permanent,
Right.
Day in and day out.
Right. Exactly.
It's for overflow parking.
Right. So I feel like if somebody, my opinion is if somebody wants to plant grass there and let somebody temporarily guest park in their grass, then so be it. Let them do it. That's my opinion.
Exactly. There is any rules about the parking you allow because resident guest parking can be few hour one day. There is a clear cut because
No.
now about this parking space, I totally agree. What they want grass and you can have one day parking should be not a big things, but parking. What is the rule for a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house? You need to have 3-4 spot. Is this any kind of rule?
Yeah.
Or if you have huge space, one day you can have 2 car, one day you can have 10 car, or that work.
Yeah, there's a rule. There's a rule. You have to have one parking spot per bedroom. And then I think it's plus one guest spot, but I think they might have eliminated because the new driveway code just passed. So I don't remember if the guest spot is still there or not, but there is a regulation on how much it is. But I mean, hey, if it were up to me, I wouldn't think we should develop anything on the swales at all. And I would be fine with grass. And I don't see any issue with that whatsoever. But I think inevitably there's going to be some level of development from people that are going to put something in the swale, and it has to be something that's resilient. So it seems like definitely everybody's on board with no impermeable surfaces, no asphalt. And then I think the simplest way to do it would just say up to allow the same permeable materials that are allowed already in the driveway code. in order to not differentiate the two. I don't know, Will, what are your thoughts on that?
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I kind of echoing what you guys said. I think sometimes it's easier to keep things simple and just eliminate the asphalt and leave the other things up to sort of individual cases or to the future with just like the broad guidance that, you know, permeable is sort of what we prefer from like the ecology board for the neighborhood. But yeah, in terms of details, I don't have too much in terms of to offer.
Okay. So I guess the best thing would just be to get a vote. So we're talking about, because before we took a vote, it was on the driveways. So now we're talking specifically just about the swales. So I guess what I would propose to bring to the commission would be that our official recommendation is that absolutely no impermeable surfaces are to be used. Of course, that includes asphalt, but any impermeable surface. And to allow the same permeable materials that are already allowed in the driveway code up to the whatever maximum percentage they end up allowing, which sounds like it's 40%, but I still don't know if that's including the driveway approach or not. To me, that's keeping it simple that way. It seems like it makes the most sense. Is everybody?
Because
Say that one more time about the driveway approach, keeping that as the same permeable. Is that what you said?
No, basically keeping this, whatever permeable materials are allowed in the current driveway code that they just adopted, using those same materials for this code as well, because those materials are turf block and gravel. I think those are the only ones. I don't think permeable pavers are on there, and I don't think they should be either. So
there is a kind of index of permeability for square feet, something like that.
there is. That's why it's I don't think it's specifically called out, but there is a standard out there. So that's why with permeable pavers, you'd have to make a calculation, and I don't think it would be feasible to even do that.
I see some house, they have a kind of square block.
Yeah.
Grass, a square block, so it doesn't go to the 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's exactly the point. So that's why permeable pavers shouldn't be allowed, because that's different, because there you're calculating, that's a different calculation. That's for the driveway. So the driveway, basically you're calculating only that little strip of grass as the permeable part of it. So you have to like do a calculation. So if you have like 1 inch over 12 inches, that's the surface area that's permeable out of, multiply that by however many blocks you have. So it's in the driveway code, that's something they do allow, but that's already been approved. But here, that's not a permeable surface. So here we're just talking about permeable surfaces, permeable parking surfaces. So if it is the case that stones and turf block, does everybody know what turf block is, by the way? Yeah, if it's the case that those are the two allowable materials, if it were me, I would put mulch in there too. I'll just, I don't know if I don't even necessarily bring it up to vote unless I think people are also okay with that. But I know Alex mentioned that you would. What are your thoughts on that, Kate and Daniela?
My thought is to just, I personally wouldn't even dictate what material. I would just say permeable versus non-impermeable surfaces. I think there's too much of a range, and it's too restricting to tell people what they can and can't put as what's, in the swale area. I mean, yeah, for the surface in the swale area. That's me personally.
That's
Because
permeable, if you put this kind of specification, you need to put a percent. Because actually 1% permeable. We need almost 50%. Have to be really trained. I believe we can risk to go to somebody sneak around.
no, I'm sure we could come up with, like a percentage of permeable. Provide that recommendation.
Well, I mean, two things. So with regards to actually talking about specific materials, the reason that's important to do that is because when this stuff comes in front of P&Z, and I know because this happened when we were there, people come up with all kinds of things that are maybe technically permeable. So you could come with like pieces of tire, like pieces of rubber that, yeah, they're permeable, but do we want somebody really putting pieces of tire in the soil?
It will be possible to put a clear cut of what is completely forbidden and then a 3-4 recommended material and allow whatever is permeable with a certain percentage. I mean, recommendation, suggestion, something absolutely not, and open for permeable, but you give 3-4 recommendations.
Well, I mean, we could say organic material such as stone, mulch, sod, or permeable driveway pavers that meet certain percentage. I don't know what that percentage is, but of permeability.
I mean, I think realistically speaking, to put a percentage there, who's going to measure it? I mean, P and Z, when they're looking at those plans, they're not going to know what, like this size gravel is going to be this,
No, I just mean for the pavers. So if they're gonna have permeable pavers, then that has to have some type of product specification that when, they're reviewing it, that guarantees that this product meets this type of permeability percentage. I mean,
so you're for allowing permeable pavers.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, it looks clean as long as it meets a certain criteria of permeability.
So, but you're not talking about turf block. You're talking about something different. You're talking about just like the square.
Concrete net.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's all different kinds. I'm just Googled it, like permeable driveways to see what the options are, but they have things like this where, it's gridded and you can put stone in there. So that the stone's not falling everywhere or sliding off. So they're
That's
more like grids.
the geogrid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's actually the one that we tried to get through on the driveway, and then P&Z for some reason inexplicably came back and said that that was only used on commercial surfaces. So they struck it out of the driveway ordinance, which is, I wish I would have been there when that
Yeah.
conversation happened, but I'm definitely willing to bring it up again. So yeah, no, it's so
It's kind of like, you know who has that is the Frost Museum there
Oh, really?
on the bottom floor. So-
Museum,
Yeah.
right,
So it's like gravel in between little,
correct.
and underneath there, you probably can't see it, but there has to be something other than just rock. So it's probably these grids. And they just put the rock on top.
Right, it's probably some sort of retaining structure like that.
Right.
that keeps it
Exactly.
contained.
Exactly. And so that, cars don't sink. It makes it strong underneath, but it gives the appearance of it being just stone. But allows water to still penetrate. That's like a LEED certified design. That's why they did it, to get their LEED certification. So
I remember hearing.
So we'll say organic materials such as gravel or mulch, or ground cover. Just we want to say or any ground cover.
Organic.
Right. Yeah. Organic ground cover. Turf block or GeoGrid. I think GeoGrid, one of the reasons I think they took it out also is because when I mentioned it, that I called it True Grid, which is like actually a brand name. Obviously, we can't promote a specific brand. So I think
Right.
those are called I think that's like the architectural term. It's called GeoGrid, something like that.
There is
geo or ground
any
grids I'm
thing
seeing
about
here.
geogrid done with recyclable material.
It is. Most of them are. Yeah. Most of them is recycled plastic.
I see that True Grid is a registered trademark name or.
Yeah, that's the
not,
one.
Not, don't use that.
Yeah. Well, that's the one that we had originally
Gravelox.
used. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So that, and then, all right. So those would be the ones. So organic materials such as gravel, mulch, or any organic ground cover, turf block, or geogrid. I'll update that term if I find a better term.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
more
we can do a
generic.
little research before, we-
Yeah, but, all right, so let's go ahead and take that up for a vote. So just voting on bringing to the commission that, our recommendation, official recommendation for swale development, surfaces are organic materials such as gravel, mulch, or any organic ground cover, turf block, or geogrid. I myself am in favor.
Ever?
I'm in favor.
Yes. I think-
Will, did you have any comments?
No, yeah. I'm in favor with that wording.
Excellent.
Beside the recommendation, we are giving any kind of strong indication of what the
Well, so the other recommendation would be no impermeable surfaces. So that would be part of the recommendation. So that, I mean, of course, that includes asphalt, but nothing,
Exactly.
no impermeable surfaces. Which I'm pretty sure most of the commission is on board with that. From what I understood last time at the last meeting, they voted on that and everybody seemed to be in favor of that.
Alex, would you mind reading that one more time for me? The organic materials that.
Sure. So I'm going to add, so no impermeable surfaces. And then organic material such as, I mean, just gravel, is that organic? It's not organic.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's stone natural
Yeah.
resource.
Yeah, natural material, maybe natural materials.
Turf block, geogrid, and what was the other?
Or any organic ground cover. Mulch or any organic ground cover. So let's see. All right, so we're at 8:15 now. I don't want to go too far over. The only other thing I did want to mention, is there anything else on the agenda other than that?
The proposed landscape ordinance, but I put that on, but I already talked about that.
Okay,
And then we had old business of permitting solar panels. That was it.
okay. I don't know, Daniela, do you have any?
I didn't have
Comments on
any
that?
reply
All right, so just one quick thing regarding solar, as many of you probably know, the House and the Senate recently passed a bill that is going to eliminate net metering of solar. It's going to be a big hit for the industry. A lot of people are going to lose jobs because of it. It's still on the governor's desk. He hasn't signed it yet, so I encourage. Yeah. So basically, with the way that it's structured right now, if you already have solar panels, you'll be grandfathered in for 20 years at the current rate. So you'll still have net metering. You and I will still have, whoever has solar will still have it for the next 20 years. If you get it next year, it'll only be at, I think, 75% of the current rate. And then the year after that, 50%. And then within 4 years, it's totally eliminated. FPL basically said that people who own solar panels are being subsidized by people who don't own solar panels, which is of course preposterous and not supported by any evidence whatsoever. It just threatens their business model. So, you know, it's going to be a problem. But the reason I bring it up is because we still have a chance to write Governor DeSantis an email asking him to vote against the bill. So I'll tell you the bill number right now. And his office has an email that you can email directly. Let me see, net metering Florida.
This will be only for Florida.
This is for Florida, all of Florida.
Yeah, criminal.
Yeah. So it is. So if anybody has a chance to email the governor asking him to, let's see, I'm just trying to find the number of the bill so you can reference it.
Can I ask if you have a sample letter you can share with us?
So there's actually, if you go to,
Tell us where to find one.
yes, so if you go to, so let's see. It's actually a form letter where you can just basically just click.
I can probably also Google form letter for that, I'm sure.
Oh, it's called solarunitedneighbors.org. So solarunitedneighbors.org. If you click in there, there'll be something that says take action. And when you click there, there's a button that says click on call on Governor DeSantis to veto House Bill 741. So they actually, so you can go in there and it'll write the whole letter for you. You send it. They actually made the bill a little bit less of a harder pill to swallow because the first iteration of the bill, which by the way, the bill was actually written by FPL, and then FPL donated $10,000 to the senator who introduced this bill, Senator Bradley. So it's a clear quid pro quo, but the Miami Herald actually did they unveiled what happened there, and FPL created a whole website trying to smear the Miami Herald for that. But bottom line is, if you have time, please write a letter to the governor. He's, for whatever you think about him or his administration, he is actually has a pretty good track record regarding conservation, and this is directly related to that. And even more important is jobs. I mean, this is like 40,000 jobs that are on the line here. So it's really important. So does anybody else have anything to add before we adjourn?
Nope.
Will, anything?
No, that's it.
All right. So all in favor of,
When's our next meeting?
oh, yes, next meeting. So I believe it was actually very helpful. Shantae sent out a meeting request, and let's see. So the third Tuesday in April,
19.
Tuesday the 19th. Yeah, Tuesday the 19th at 7 p.m. So if you can put that in your calendars. All right. All in favor of adjourning the meeting? Aye.
Favor.
In favor.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This is actually reminds me of The Simpsons episode. Burns takes away the sun. Yeah. Right. Puts a big sun blocker up. Getting pretty close to that. It's almost that ridiculous.
That's basically.
Yeah, this is the point. Like, because you can do a solar system, you can be independent. To the FPL, to the power.
Right, and they'll keep spinning it that way, saying, well, we put this minimum charge, like, go talk to your neighbor who put the solar panels up.
Yes.
They're the reason we gotta have this minimum charge. who can't afford solar panels.